Good morning, Harvey.
Morning, Rabbi. How are you?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Good.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, I'm going to use a little different equipment this morning. And have to move around a little bit. So we'll do the best we can, all right?
Okay. I'm outside. Doesn't matter.
You're outside?
Yeah, the cleaning people are here. I got to stay inside.
That's my situation also.
Okay.
I'm going to start in one room, then I have to move to another room.
Oh, I'm out on the promenade.
Oh, on the promenade. That's
good. Yeah. Well, in Ainsley, we're fancy. We don't call them
you don't call it
catwalks. We call them promenades.
Oh, okay. Very good. All right. We got a couple minutes, I think. Everybody is good by your side of the village and your family? Good.
It's okay.
All right.
I have a question though.
You have a question, yeah?
Who is this Munbaz who shows up and disappears?
Okay. He is a Baal Plugta, a person of the time of Rabbi Akiva. And if we need to look into his name more, I'll have to do some homework. I don't remember right offhand, but there are, I have books that I could look up who it is. And also the new art scroll has an introduction to Talmud volume that lists all of the sages as well.
Oh, okay.
So that's something we can deal with. Okay. All right. I am still getting my act together here a little bit. Okay. And we will get underway momentarily. As far as the schedule goes, today is supposed to be Ayin 70, right? So we will actually be starting on the bottom, last line of Samach Tet Amud Beis, the very last line. We'll go through Ayin and probably try to start some of Ayin Aleph if we can today as well. All right. Okay. Since I don't see anybody else on for some reason. Okay.
Morning, Rabbi.
Okay, Erwin's here, Ted's here, Harvey's here. We're missing Bob Rumberg. I hope he'll get on shortly. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Very good. All right. So I'm going to start. Okay. And as I indicated, I may have to move rooms because the cleaning ladies are here today. Okay. So that's where we'll be at. Okay. All right. Okay. The bottom line of Samach Tet Amud Aleph starts us off again with the Mishnah. Okay, Hayodea Shahu Shabbat. Remember, I keep repeating the same message that there are three at least different opportunities of lack of knowledge. One, the essence of Shabbat, or the main law of Shabbat, existence of Shabbat. Number two, one might know that, but not know the prohibitions okay? Or number 3, one might even know the prohibitions but not know the punishments, okay? And so in all of those cases, we can have various aspects, various elements. Okay. So Hayodea Shehu Shabbat, okay? Let's go over to Ayin, right? Mai Shana Resha Umai Shana Seifa, asks the Gemara. Okay, what is the difference then between the Resha, the beginning of our Mishnah, okay, where we were saying about a sin offering, okay, for each individual Shabbat, Umai Shana Seifa, and what's the difference then in regards to the end of our Mishnah that said that one is liable for each and every primary category of labor preferred. Okay. Amar Rav Safra, says Rav Safra, Kan miyadiyat Shabbat hu poresh. Okay, basically he's saying, Rav Safra, okay, that if we're saying that he would refrain from working, okay, because of an awareness of the concept of Shabbat, the Kan miyadiyat malacha hu poresh. On the other hand, he's arguing, it would be an awareness of the kind of labor, okay, that would be prohibited. That's why he would refrain from working. Amarle Rav Nachman, says Rav Nachman, Klum parish mishabat ela mishum malachot. Is there anyone who's going to refrain from working on Shabbat if it's not because he's aware that those labors, those kinds of work are prohibited? Uklum peresh mimalachot. And is there no one who's going to separate from these labors? In other words, refrain from doing the labors, ela mishum Shabbat, except for the fact that he's aware that it's Shabbat. Sorry, Ela Amar Rav Nachman. So therefore, Rav Nachman says as follows: Korban dechayav Rachmana. Okay, Rav Nachman says instead that where the law, okay, the Torah basically has required a sacrifice, amai, why? Ashgaga, for a situation of being unwitting, okay? In other words, out of ignorance, right? Hatam, okay, in that situation, chadishgaga, okay, where one isn't aware of Shabbat, it's simply a awareness of a single mistake, ignorance of one fact, if you will. Hacha tuva shgagot havya. But here, where there are multiple malachas, okay, there are many situations of ignorance, if you will, or lack of knowledge. That's what we have. Okay. We come back to our Mishnah again. Chayav al kol melacha, that he would be obligated to bring the chatas, we said, for each separate kind of work, separate kind of labor. So Gemara asks a question. Chiluk melachot minalan. Okay, on what basis do we say that these labors, these kinds of work are divided? Okay. In other words, that a sacrifice would be required for each and every one if they were all performed in a single state of unawareness. Amar Shmuel, Amar Kra. So Shmuel, it's a pasuk, Mechaleleha Mot Yumat. Okay, based on the pasuk, he's saying that everyone that profanes it shall surely be put to death. Okay. HaTorah rifta mitot harbe, or metot harbe, al chilul echad. That therefore the Torah would require, many, if you will, death penalties or multiple deaths for one desecration. Hai b'mezid kativ, says the questions the Gemara. But doesn't this apply to willful transgression? Isn't that what it's written regarding to? In eino inyan lamezid dichtiv kol ha'oseh melacha yumat. If it's not a situation in regards to a purposeful act, a willful act, okay, since the Torah says whoever does any work shall be put to death. Tanehu le'inyan l'shogeg. Okay, then we teach it even for an unwitting offender, right? Umay yumat, and what do we mean there? Yumat b'mamon. Okay, that he, in a sense, is put to death in terms of money. By that we mean that he has to pay for multiple sacrifices, and therefore ties into the Gemara's idea that one who becomes totally impoverished is like one who is dead. V'tepukle chiluk melachot mehecha. But the Gemara now suggests, instead, let's suggest that the division of various kinds of labors be deduced in another way from here, namely, the nafkale Rabbi Natan, that the way Rabbi Natan derives it. The Tanya Rabbi Natan, as Rabbi Natan teaches, Lo tivaru eish b'chol moshvotechem b'yom haShabbat. Citing the pasuk, you shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations on the Sabbath day. Ma Talmud Loma, what is the text coming to teach us? Lafi shene'amar, why? Because it also says, Vayakel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Yisrael. Okay, that it says in the pasuk, and Moses assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel and said unto them, right? What did he say unto them? Ela hadvarim v'gomer. These are the words which the Lord has commanded, right? And then continuing, Sheshit yamim ta'aseh malacha. 6 days shall you do work. The fact that it says dvarim, words, ha-dvarim, the words, okay, adds to the fact that dvarim would mean only 2. Hadvarim would imply 3. Okay? Then, but our pasuk says, Eila hadvarim. These are the words. Namely, by taking the word Eila, if we do the gematria of the word Eila, we get 1 aleph, lamed is 30, hey is 5, that gives us 36. If we add that to the ha-dvarim, which we now say is 3, that gives us 39. Okay? Elu shloshim v'teisha melachot shne'amru l'Moshe miSinai. So these are the 39 categories of work, of labor, taught to Moshe at Sinai. It's possible, okay, that one might have thought to perform them all in a single state of unawareness. Eino chayav ela echad, that he might not have been held obligated, okay, to bring the offering if he had done one, right? If he had done it simply in one offering. Talmud lomar becharish ubekatsir tishbot. A further verse says, plowing, right, and harvesting you shall rest. Va'adayin ani omer, and I still say, okay, it might argue the following: al charisha va'al ktsira chayav shtayim. For each one of those you would have to bring. Therefore, for those you would bring 2. Va'al kulan eino chayav ela achat. Okay, because those two were spelled out specifically. But for all the others, you would still only have to bring one offering. Talmud lomar lo tivaru esh. Therefore, the text tells us, you shall not kindle a fire, implying it's another example of a separate malacha. Havara biklal haita. But we might argue, right, that kindling is included in the general law. V'lama yatzat. Why was it singled out? Lahakish aleha v'lo marla. In other words, to associate it, to make an analogy, and to draw it and tell us the following. Ma havara shehi av malacha, the same way that kindling is considered a primary category of work, v'chayavin aleha b'fnei atzma, and one would be obligated to bring the offering for it itself, right? Af kol shehu av malacha. So likewise, any other primary category of work has a separate liability, a separate requirement. Chayavin aleha b'fnei atzma. Okay, let's go on. Shmuel Savar, okay. What does Shmuel's view? Savar like Rabbi Yossi. He holds like Rabbi Yossi, right? Which was as follows: Da'amar havara v'lav yatzat. That havara was simply separated or singled out, if you will, okay, to be able to teach that it as an example of a lav, of a negative precept, right? And in that case, it's not necessarily a av malacha, right? That therefore, it's the others would be punishable by karet, but or by shogeg, by makos, okay, in situation, right? The Tanya havara lav yatzat. Why? Because he taught that havara was singled out as an example of a lav, divrei Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Natan omer lechalek yatzat. But Rabbi Yossi disagrees and said, no, it was specifically separated, singled out to show that it was a separate item, and therefore all of the avot malacha are separate items as well. And therefore one would be chayav for each one, okay, example. Now, the Gemara then comes back and tells us, v'tepukle lechalok melachot, okay? So let Shmuel then, okay, divide up the categories. Mehecha denafkale l'Rabbi Yossi, okay? If that's the case, right, how then does he follow the example of Rabbi Yossi? How would Rabbi Yossi get that idea? Okay, right? Namely, the Tanya, because he teaches Rabbi Yossi elsewhere, va'oseh me'achat mehena. If a soul sins out of ignorance against one of the commandments of Hashem concerning these things that should not be done, namely, pa'amim shechayavin echat al kulam. There are times when one is required to bring an obligation, right, a sacrifice of one kind for all of them. Upa'amim shechayavin al kol echad ve'echad. And there are other times, says Rabbi Yossi, when one would have to bring an offering for each of them separately. Okay? Amar Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina, says Rabbi Yossi, the son of Chanina, Mai Tama de Rabbi Yossi. What's Rabbi Yossi's rationale? Echat me'achat, heina me'heina. Okay, he says if one of them teaches that it's a one complete act, them from them says that all of them are forbidden, okay, from all of the others. Echad shehi hena, one from one, okay, or one from all of them. Hena shehi echad, and all of them as if they're one. Okay, echad, okay, he says, going on, right? Thus, one would be a complete act. What would be an example of a complete act or not from a complete act? Let's take the example, says the Gemara. Echad, one complete act, would be if somebody were to write a full name, like the entire name Shimon. Okay? Me'achat, if from all of them only one, if he only wrote part. For example, let's go over to Ayin Amud Beis, Shem Mishimon. If he only wrote part of it, like the Shem part, and not the whole name Shimon. Hena Avot, when it says from all of them, we're talking about the primary work categories. Mehena, from them, okay, we're talking about Toledot, the subcategories, if you will, okay, of the work. Echad Shahi Hena, one from among them, okay, that would be the case of the following. Zadon Shabbat B'shigigat Malachot, okay, that he was willful against Shabbat, but unwilling in regards to the various labors. Hena Shahi Achat, them that are only one, Shigigat Shabbat V'zadon Malachot, where he's unwittingly in regards to Shabbat, but he is wittingly mazed, okay, in regards to the labors. Ushmuel, and what about Shmuel's view? How do we understand that? Echat Shahi Hena, one that comes from them, okay? Vahina Shahi Echat Lo Mashmale, but them that come from one, okay, Shmuel does not maintain. Okay, so now we go on to a new piece in the Gemara with the following. Ba'imine Rava Mirav Nachman. Rava asked the following question. Okay, we saw that there's the difference between forgetting Shabbat, the concept, versus forgetting the Malachot, or being over on Shabbat as a single item versus over on the Malachot, which are multiple items. So now the question. Okay. Ba'i mine Rava mirav Nachman. He asks as follows. Okay. He'elaim. Okay. If there's a lapse of awareness, this lapse of awareness, zeh in regards to Shabbat, vizeh, and also this in regards to a particular labor, biyado mahu, what's the status? So in other words, it's a single lapse of awareness, but it applies both to forgetting about Shabbat and forgetting about a melacha. Amarle, Hare ha'elem Shabbat biyado. So he answers, there is the lapse of awareness in regards to Shabbat. Ve'eno chayav ela achat. And in that case, he would only be on account, required to bring one offering, okay, in regards to the Shabbat. Ad Rabbah, says the Gemara. Okay, the opposite may be true. Hare ha'elem melachot biyado. But in that question, there's also a lapse of awareness in regards to the labors. V'chayav al kol echad ve'echad. And that should seem to imply that since he forgot the various labors, he should be required to bring an offering for each one of them. Ela Amar Rav Ashi. But Rav Ashi is going to suggest a slightly different explanation. Amar, right? Chazina, we see here, Imishum Shabbat Kaparish, if it's a situation because of the awareness, he suddenly becomes aware of Shabbat, and that's why he deceased from work. Harei he'elam Shabbat biyado, ve'eno chayav ela echad. Thus, it was a forgetfulness or a lapse of awareness of Shabbat, and all he would have to bring is a single offering. Ve'i mishum malacha kaparish, and if it's because of the labors that he's now aware that they are forbidden, and that's why he desists from work. Harei he'elam malachot biyado. Then it's a lapse of awareness in regards to the various labors. V'chayav al kol echad ve'echad. And he therefore would have to bring a chatat offering for each one. Now, what happens? Amar le Ravina. Ravina says as follows to Rav Ashi. Klum peresh mishabat ela mishum malachot. Is there any situation where one would desist from work, on Shabbat, because of the forbidden nature, the prohibition of the labors, except for Shabbat. Klum parish mi melachot ela mishum Shabbat. And is there anyone who would desist from the various labors unless it was because of the reason of Shabbat? Ela lo shana. But according to Ravina, there's no difference, right? Okay, let's go on now. We continue. Since we mentioned that the Avot Malachot were 39, the Gemara is going to deal with this in a little bit more detail. Okay. Avot Malachot Arba'im Chaser Achat, says the Mishnah, Breita. Right? We learned, right, that the primary categories of work are 40 minus 1, Vahavin and Ba. And when we discuss this, Minyana Lamali, why was it necessary to deal with, state a specific number? Va'amar Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan answered the following: She'im asa'an kulan v'ha'elem echad, that if the person, performed all of them in a single act, a single state of unawareness, chayav al kol echad ve'achad. He would be liable for each one separately. Im amrat b'shleima ha'alem zeh v'zeh biyado. Now, if you say that he's unaware both of this and of this, separately, in other words, both unaware of Shabbat's essence, existence, law, and unaware of the laws of the Melachot, chayav al kol echad ve'achad shapir, that he would then be obligated to bring on each one, that would seem to be well. Ela I amrat helem Shabbat biyado. If, however, you're saying that it's the lack of awareness focuses on the essence, the concept of Shabbat, eino chayav ela echad. He should not be obligated except to bring a single offering. Right? Hechi mishkachad la. Under what conditions, might he that be the case? Bizadon Shabbat v'shigigat melachot, where it's willful in regards to Shabbat, and it's unwitting in terms of the labors. Hanecha isavarle k'Rabbi Yochanan. That's acceptable if he holds in the view like Rabbi Yochanan. The Amar kevan sheshagag bekaret afal pi shehizid balav. Rabbi Yochanan, who says there that, excuse me, that in that situation, if he's unwitting, sorry, and the punishment is correct, even though he was purposeful, witting, okay, intentional in regards to the love, mishkachet la diadale Shabbat b'lav, because there he's aware, he has knowledge that there is a prohibition in regards to Shabbat on a love. Ela isa vala karabi Shimon ben Lakish. But if he agrees with Reish Lakish instead, whose opinion was Da'amar ad sheyishgog belav vikare, that it's not unwitting unless it's both regarding the prohibition and unaware of the punishment of karet as well. Diada le Shabbat b'mai. How then can you say in that case that he would have any awareness, any knowledge of Shabbat? Diada la betchumim va'ali b'da Rabbi Akiva. At best, Reish Lakish could argue that he would then be aware of the Shabbos boundaries, and that would be according to the view of Rabbi Akiva. Okay, picking up, let's continue a bit more. Okay, now Rava again raises the point. If we're saying about individual categories of work, and the fact that one could be, let's say, forgetful, or unaware in two areas, both the area of Shabbat, in essence, and the area of the labors themselves. The Gemara continues now and gives us some examples to try to deal with. Amar Rabba, Katsar v'tachan kegrogeret, that he reaped and he ground this grain to the amount of a dried fig bulk. B'shegagat Shabbat, with an unwitting forgetfulness of Shabbat, v'zadon melachot, but with an awareness in regards to the labors. B'zadon Shabbat v'shogeget melachot. Okay, or what happens, right? V'chazar, then he continues, he comes back. V'katzar v'tachan, again he reaps and then grinds again. Kegrogeret, okay, the amount of a dried fig bulk. Okay, Bizadon Shabbat, with a witting an awareness of Shabbat. V'shigegat melachot, and then a forgetfulness, okay, of the labors. V'nodalo al ktsira utchina, and then he becomes aware regarding the reaping and regarding the grinding on the situation of unwitting forgetfulness of Shabbat and of intentional regarding the laws, the labors, V'chazar v'nodalo, and again afterwards he becomes aware regarding the situation of reaping, v'al tchina, and the situation of grinding, shel zadon Shabbat, regards the intentional forgetfulness of Shabbat, v'shigegat melachot, and the unintentional, right, the unawareness of the labors. What happens? Let's go over to Ayin Hey. Okay, Amud Aleph, Kitsira, Goreret Kitsira. Okay, the reaping in the first case helps carry over, okay, bring over the atonement for the reaping in the second case. Utchina goreret tchina. And the grinding in the first case helps carry over the atonement for the grinding in the second case. Right? So therefore, right? Aval, says the Gemara, no dalo al ktsira shel sadon. If the order was the opposite, okay, in terms of his discovering these situations. If he first became known about the reaping in a situation of intentional forgetfulness on Shabbat, v'shigigat melachot, and unwitting regarding the labors, ktsira goreret ktsira, the reaping would then carry over the atonement for the reaping, utchena, and for the grinding she'ima that's along with it. Utchena she'kenegda, but the grinding in the second case, okay, of doing the two acts, bimkoma omedet, would remain in its place. So in that case, he would have to bring two different offerings, two different chatos, I'm sorry. Now, a bit more. Abai Amar says, Abai disagrees with Rava and says here, Tchina nami goreret tchina sham. Okay, tchina achati. Abai claims no, that the first atonement in the first grinding will also carry over atonement for the second grinding, right? Because grinding and reaping are as if they're a single act. Umi eat leila rabba garira, asks the Gemara, and therefore can we say, is it such that Rava does accept this idea of the carrying over of atonement? Vaha itmar. And now on this, the following example was raised. Ava achal shnei zete chelev be'elem echad. If one ate two, let's call it olive-sized pieces of forbidden fat, right, in a single awareness. V'nodalo al echat mehem. And then he becomes aware, okay, of it, that the first piece was chelev. V'chazar v'achal kezayet b'elmo shel sheni. And then he went back and ate another olive amount of forbidden fat, okay? At the same time, during that he had forgetfulness from having had that previous second piece, Amar Rava, Hevi Korban al Rishon, he brings a offering in the first case, right? And what happens? Rishon v'sheni mitkaprin. The first and the second are atoned for. Okay? Since they were eaten in one single state of unawareness. Shlishi eino mitkaper. But the third one is not atoned for. Okay? Evi korban al shlishi. If he brings a offering on the third one, shlishi v'sheni mitkaprin. The third and the second one are atoned for. Right? Rishon eino mitkaper. The first one is not atoned for. Okay, why is that? Hevi korban. Okay, why? Because the second and third were again done in the same awareness, lack of awareness, but not the first one. Hevi korban al ha'emtzai nitkapru kulan. Okay, if he brings it on the middle one, it covers the two of them. Okay. Now we're going to just we'll continue a little bit in a moment, but I've got to change locations. All right, so hold on a second, and we'll continue in a little bit. Okay. All right. Okay, so in this situation, again, we're going to see that Abaye is going to disagree. Okay. And he says as follows. Abaye Amar, afilu hevi korban al echad mehem. Abaye argues, even if he brought, right, one sacrifice for all three of the examples of eating the inappropriate fat, nitkapru kulan, okay? They all would be accepted, okay? They all would carry atonement. Because remember, Abaye said, goreret, that one act brings atonement for another. Now, batar de shemaya me Abaye, Savra, says the Gemara. After having heard this argument, Rava accepted it and seems to accept the view of Goreret. Ihachi, if that's the case, says the Gemara, China nami tigralet china. Do we say then that in that situation, the grinding also carries over the atonement for the grinding? Greira itle, with a single act of atonement, a single act of carrying over is possible. Grira de grira litle, but a double act of grinding, in other words, a double act of carrying over from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, Rava was not willing to accept. Okay. So the Gemara then would continue, but I think we're going to stop right there because it then gets into a slightly more complicated example with the fact that other sages are brought into the discussion. So I think that is where we're going to sort of finish up today. All right. Okay. So it gives you a little bit to work on over Shabbos, and we'll pick up again on Sunday. Okay, and so wish everybody a good Shabbos.
Shabbos, thank you, Rabbi. Be well.
Stay well, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi. Have a good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.